And now it's time for today's daily forecast with EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martridge.
Hey, good Friday morning to you. It is September 14th, 2018, and the main focus today, of course, will be the landfall of Hurricane Florence off to our south, and it should be happening this morning. The latest projections is I'm doing this video late in the evening, the night before, of course, or for landfall, right around 7 or 8 o'clock, right near somewhere between Wilmington and Cape Fear or Bald Head Island, somewhere in that region. The question is going to be whether that just goes over land. The official national, and I'll show you this in a second, the official National Hurricane Center forecast is for it to make landfall and then just go right over the coast like this, and then go over northern part of South Carolina. The European model, which is shown right here, has landfall right near Cape Fear, just like this, and the next frame, you can see it starts to drift to the southwest and back over water. So this continues off to the southwest, just off the shore here, shoreline of Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach is literally right there, and this thing's maybe 10 miles off the coast, or it's paralleling the coastline. This was a worst-case scenario that we've outlined for a couple days for this area as a possibility. Once the European model started showing it, it's been very consistent in showing that just barely getting Cape Fear as far as a landfall is just to make it official, and then go back over water because that coastline juts in right here just a little bit, and then it goes back down here to about Georgetown or just north of the Charleston area, and then comes in. So what that does is it's not a real big deal. What that does is allow the storm to maintain some intensity and not weaken as quickly if it's going back over the water. And it also increases the surge along the southeastern or the eastern part of the coastline for South Carolina. So those areas could be a lot higher than projected if it does in fact move back over water. So because of that, those surge warnings have been extended all the way down further south for that possibility. It's just unclear right now whether that's going to happen or not. If it does go over land, that saves them in coastal South Carolina a little bit in the surge department, which is, of course, one of the worst parts of a hurricane. And I really don't have to rehash everything that's going on here with the heavy rain and the surge and the winds and everything going on in North Carolina. That's been well advertised and it's ongoing, so I don't want to rehash that. What we're going to be concerned about now is what is going to happen with this after landfall. First, we're going to show you the National Hurricane Center's official track, and again, it takes it instead of taking it southwest along the coast like this, like the European model has, it's a little bit further north of there, and it is a big deal for South Carolina whether or not they get that surge, and if it does reemerge over water, even if for just a little bit, it will keep that surge threat along the coastline for them. But the official track takes it a little bit north, and it keeps it over the land here. This is kind of like a NAM track right here, over the land, and then it eventually will curve and head up in this direction toward our region. Now, this is something we've been talking about for a couple days too, which is kind of surprising, because I see a lot of sources out there saying, "Oh, we were the first to let you know that we could get remnant rains from this. We told you." Well, we've been talking. But the good thing is about these videos is they're archived. You can go back and look at plenty of videos where I talked about remnant rainfall being a great possibility for this area, and that looks like the European model is leading the charge on that too. No reason for me to doubt that right now. GFS is not quite as enthused, although it is increasing with time, the precipitation amount, so it's more like a 1 to 2 inch type deal. But we'll get into that in a second here. I just want to get touch on that real quick. But what this does is it takes this system into interior South Carolina, further south. You can see that's actually in southern parts of South Carolina before it finally makes the turn here, goes up through the eastern Tennessee Valley, and eventually makes a turn. This is now looking at Monday. Before I do that, just focus on our area real quick. Looks like today for our area we're just cloudy. We still have an onshore flow going here, and in part of this is because of this hurricane off the south. We're not expecting any precipitation, maybe a stray shower. Not a big deal, folks. Just a stray shower, brief, not a big deal. Okay. Most areas, or majority of the area, probably over 90% of the area, is going to remain dry today. Okay, and then as we get into Saturday, the system moves further to the south and west. We're going to have maybe some clouds in the morning giving way to sun. We're going to have partly cloudy skies here on Saturday afternoon. Seasonable temperatures. We get to Sunday, mostly sunny skies are expected across the region. This is going to be all the way down here by in western South Carolina or maybe northeastern Georgia. So it's going to be far enough away where we're going to be able to get an ample amount of sun on Sunday, and temperatures will be hovering right around the 80-degree mark this weekend. Very nice weekend upcoming for us. Okay, and then once we get to beyond that, we get into Monday, clouds are going to be on the increase, and the system's going to come in from the southwest. We're going to leave some chance for showers later in the day, starting to move in. It might wait till the overnight to get here on Monday night. And then here is Tuesday, and you got heavy rain moving over the region because this low tracks right over Pennsylvania. Now, the reason why we think this is a plausible idea, and this image here is courtesy of True Weather, and this is the European ensemble. Look how clustered all these little L's are all clustered here. These little L's, the red L's that are all over the map here, represent an individual ensemble run. There's 51 of them, okay? One being the operational run, which is this black L right here, and this is the ensemble mean, that big red L. All the little L's are all the individual runs of the ensemble, which are very much in agreement with the operational run, suggesting that we're going to get the heavy rain move through the region. So for us to see this right here, where the heavy rain moving across our region on Tuesday, Monday night, Tuesday, this is a plausible idea. So I think that it's going to be relatively quick, maybe a 12-hour type thing, in and out, and then it should keep moving because there's a trough that's going to be digging in off to the north, kicking this thing out. So it's going to accelerate this off to the north and east, so it will not be hanging around here for days, and then this front will come in afterwards and clear this whole thing out for Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So we should be back to partly to mostly sunny days after this kicks out. So Monday night, Tuesday is the time frame we're looking at. There is the potential for our area to see 2 to 4 inches, locally higher amounts, especially over the mountains where there will be some orographic lift taking place. And that's just basically the water moving up against the mountains and squeezing out some extra moisture in layman terms there. But so that orographic lift process could dump a little bit more than 4 inches in those areas. But we're going to narrow these rain amounts down as we get a little bit closer. But I would not bet that this is going to miss us. And, you know, there's not really any models missing us at all. It's just a matter of how much rain falls. The GFS is a little bit less enthused, maybe closer to an inch, inch and a half, something like that. The less the better. Of course, we don't need any more of this excess rain, and we'd rather deal without it. Taking a look at the radar now real quick. This is the radar this evening, and again, this is after 10 o'clock now that I'm looking at this radar. You can see the center of the circulation is right here. See this outer circle here? This is the outer band. There's basically two rings here, concentric rings. There's one in the middle. That's where the low center is. But this one is actually running the show. And if you actually can see, you're looking for which way it's moving. You look where this outer ring is moving. That is where it's consistently moving off generally to the west here, and that's why we're expecting to make landfall somewhere around here. This the inner core is actually wobbling within this outer ring. Okay, so it's occasionally it'll look like it's going to go off to the northwest, and then it'll change. It looks like it's going to the southwest. That's just because it's running around the inner periphery of this outer ring. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to most of you there, but the general idea is it's going to continue to the west here, generally to the west, and it's not going to be moving very fast. It's going to take a long time for it to get from right here to here, and it's only about 75 miles at the time I record this video. So it's looking at probably about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock tomorrow, this morning, I should say. On a Friday morning, it should be landing right somewhere in here. Okay, now whether that stays on here and continues off into the ocean again, Myrtle Beach is right down to the southwest here, and if it just clips here and goes off to the southwest, then we can reemerge over the water. We'll have a European model solution where it goes over the water at least briefly and then continues off to the southwest, or does it continue westward and go into the inland areas across South Carolina? That's what we're going to be waiting to see here on Friday and see what happens with that. Latest short-range guidance is also suggesting somewhere in that general vicinity. This is the high-resolution rapid refresh, the latest run of that, and it's coming right into the Wilmington area or thereabout, and then it starts turning to the southwest. Again, the reason why we think it's going to turn to the southwest, or I know it's going to turn to the southwest, is we have, when it does turn to the southwest, you're going to have a ridge, upper air ridge that's building in right to the west of it that's going to start forcing it down like this. Okay, once we go through time here, and it's going to be starting to make its turn more to the north, and that's because you have the ridge that was over here is going to get out of the way and move up into our area. So that's going to be for over the weekend, why we're going to have a nice weekend in part. Once this gets out of the way, this system here we'll be able to make the turn and come right back over our area and bring us rain here in Monday night, Tuesday. Again, we're going to continue to update this over the next couple of days and continue to monitor the situation. I don't want to put any alarmist type things out there right now, but there is potential for 2 to 4 inches of rain, locally higher amounts. The good thing is it's going to keep moving. It's not going to stall for a couple of days over a region or anything like that. Nothing like what's going down here in North Carolina with no steering flow. There will be a steering flow once it gets to us. And that's because we have a trough sitting up here to the north. So this thing will just keep accelerating off of the northeast at that point, in and out, but it will be heavy rain with it possibly, and could give us anywhere from 2 to 4 inches, locally higher amounts in the mountainous regions. But we're hoping for the best that the GFS is right and it's closer to 1.5 inches or something like that. So we're not dealing with any more flooding in this region, which we absolutely do not need. I'm Eastern PA with a 30 meteorologist, Bobby Marchers. That is your outlook for September 14th, 2018. Have a great Friday.